Hey everybody, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit, and today I'm going to make a quick little building. I need more buildings for my Wild West stuff. Seems like I always need more buildings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some cardboard, and I'm going to make the buildings roughly 1.5 inches for miniature standing height, and then I'm going to have a sloped roof as well. And that sloped roof is going to come down from 1 inch to the 0 mark. So all I'm doing here is cutting some generic walls. That's not flush, is it? No, it's not. All right, so no problem. We'll just take a flat side of this cardboard, which I think that is a flat side, maybe. And I don't know how wide I want this. Maybe 4 inches should be good, but we'll see. Well, this knife is not cutting stuff. Let's go 6 inches to make it smart. That's 1.5 inches wide. So if we go 4.5 inches to the side here, by default, it'll be 6 inches. But it just occurred to me that I need to cut the bottom flush. So to do that, it doesn't need to be flush. I'm dumb. 6 inches. Okay. Now, where was my line there? Let's come 1 inch up and draw another line. But let's get that line dark so I know where it is. Okay. And that's going to be the generic side profile of my building. Let's make another one. And I'm just going to be lazy, because this doesn't have to be exact. So that means the front profile of our building will be 2.5 inches tall, and the back profile will be 1.5 inches tall. It'll slope backwards over this 6 inch distance. And that rise over run should be good enough for miniatures to stand on. All right, so that's less than 6 inches. That's about 7 3/4. So let's do 4 inch wide thingy bob. So first let's get our front profile. And to do that, I'm just going to be a cheater and do this. And then we know we want that to be 4 inches wide. Oh, I thought I said 5. Oh well, we'll do 4. This will be my front profile. And then we need a back profile. So we need something that's 4 inches wide and 1.5 inches tall. This appears to be 4.5 inches wide. So we can just take 2 bites out of this and get what we want. I'm just going to use the natural fold of the cardboard as my probably straight line mark. And then I'm just going to flip it around. Now my big square, which I don't know where I put it, is 2 inches. So it's probably a better fit for a project like this, but that should be 1 inch. Perfect. All right. So if we wanted to make this quick and easy, the easiest way to do that would be with vertical planks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a pair of scissors that will cut shit. I'm going to cut this piece of snack cake box in half. I'm going to cut it into a bunch of quick planks. And we don't need to have a plank on every single part of this. What we can do to be cheesy and easy is we can just do every so often throw a plank down, and then that'll give us a chance to save some time and some resources, really. Now, we want this building to be open up and playable because I've noticed with the Western campaign, with all these gunfights and stuff, that playable buildings are useful. More so than in fantasy, where having a couple playable buildings is good. But in the Western campaign, with everybody using guns and stuff, it seems like more often than not, people want to go in buildings. So let's start with our sides first. And we'll start on the edge. And we'll flip them this way so I know which way is which. Oh, we have a little bit of tape there, so we'll use that for the inside and we'll use that for the outside. So to get started, I'm just going to get a strip of glue. I'm going to tape that down, or glue that down, not tape that down. Okay. Then we can cut that all off when it's done. And I'm just going to use random spacing to make this work. Very random spacing. I'm just eyeballing it. And I'm sure as I go, it'll get easier to figure out where I want to put my glue bead. Now, we could put windows on the sides that open or that are open, and that might look okay. Another option we have is just to get little squares of cardboard and make some mock windows on the sides, because it's nice to have your buildings kind of up next to each other. See, I left that gap really big. That's okay though, we'll make it work. Now, I need something kind of longer, so we'll just make it. All right, we're gonna need a couple longer ones, so I'm just gonna snip this down. And make a couple longer ones. Okay. I might need one more longer one, but we'll see in a moment. Yeah, I'll need one more longer one. That's okay. And get that on there. Okay. We'll just snip these off. We have one side done. Let's do this side. Now we're going to need some longer ones, we know, for this first part. Oh, sloppy, sloppy. La 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 la. It's going to be a sharp looking building. And one of the things I've not done in my Wild West buildings is use a lot of different colors. When you look at pictures of the Wild West, they always look so drab and terrible. But I was actually reading that that's not true. That's just depended on where you lived. The farther it was and the harder it was to get access to stuff, and the less people there were, so the less types of products they would try to market and sell there, that would change what kind of stuff had availability. So if you were in like a major town like Carson City, Nevada, it's likely that there was enough trade there that stuff like paint and dyes and stuff would make its way out there. Whereas if you were in a little crappy place, it might not, you know. So one of the cool things is that we can use a little bit of color in our buildings and still be kind of historically accurate. And mind you, this is a fantasy setting. This is not a true Wild West. I am using some of the real names of places and stuff. And I'm making up some stuff too. The reason for that is because I'm not a historian. And I have read some history and I know some stories, but I don't know it all. So I've made my life a little easier by slamming some fantasy into my Wild West. Now let's get this snipped off. And we have our sides ready. Let's do the back next. The back should be fairly easy. I'll snip this with the scissors twice because I think it'll be easier on me to do that than try to line all those up. Okay. Now we have to do the front. So the front's going to need a little more work than the other sides because it has to have a door and stuff. So let me get a handful of popsicle sticks. So let's start by the width of the door we want. So I would say if you made the door just over an inch, it would be okay. So to do that, I'm just going to cheat, and I'm going to guess that's over an inch there, you know, with the popsicle sticks on either side and that there. I'm going to snip this as flat as I can, try to make it square, just like that. Then I'm going to get two more pieces. And we know that the middle of this is 2 inches. Oh, this is 1.5 inches wide. We'll just use this. Okay. We want it to be a little bit over an inch, and that is 1 inch. So to fix that, what we're going to do is we're just going to glue these so they are just a little bit over 1 inch, like this. Okay. And we're just eyeballing the height we want that door to be. Okay. And that was exactly what we wanted. That's a little crooked though. Let's see if we can snip some of that off without destroying this. All right, well, that'll have to work. All right, we'll snip off our bottom flush. Just like that. I need a smaller cutter that's easier to work with. And we need something for the uprights. We need something a little taller. So I'm just going to use a couple strips of this. Okay. Okay. We'll shove that down, get it up against that edge pretty flush, something like that. We'll do the same thing on this side. Nice. And considering that we eyeballed this, no real complaints. Okay. I don't know if we really want to put this on a base. I think we want to kind of cut this to fit how we have it. So let's see if we can do that. So to put it together, I'm going to run a beaded glue here. I'm going to shove that on there like that and drag it out to the edge to hold it. And I'm going to let that cool. So I'm going to do the same thing with the other side here. Okay. Cool. Looks like it's going to stay where I want it to. I'm going to come off the back side with two here. I should have done one at a time, but I didn't. So let's hope I can get this on here nice and not screw anything up. Okay. And this will be nice because this could be like a Western Union Telegraph building, or really anything you need it to be. Now we're going to cut some long thin strips. Something like this. And we're going to run a bead from the front all the way to the back. Like that. We're going to line that up to the inside. Like that. Okay. And then we can come back later and snip that off easily. Okay, then we want to fill in the inside part here with something we can cut off flush too. Just make sure that glue is dry, like mine wasn't. Oops. And we'll line that up there to the inside as well. All right, now let's cut this off. Just following along the edge of that building. Okay. I'm gonna do the front first here. Might be a little easier. Oh, that lost all its sticky downiness. We'll come back to that. Okay. Okay, sweet. Now we had a base made for it, but I want it to be part of a, like where you could put buildings flush up against each other. So what we're gonna do to fix this is we're gonna get a marker. Oops. Okay, we'll leave that little front part on. Okay, then we're going to peel this up. Shove that down. We'll scrape away loose glue, like that. That looks like it's going to be pretty sturdy, and this will do exactly what I want. I'm going to pop that in, and I'm just going to run a thin bead down the inside there on both sides. Okay. And we'll set this off to the side for just a moment. So for the windows, I always have these little board game tokens. And to have these in different sizes is actually kind of better, but I don't right now. I have them just in this size. So if we could put 2 of these on each side, we can't really fit these on the front well, but we can do something with these to make them look kind of more like a window. So check this out. Get a piece of cardstock, which I'm kind of out of. Hold on. Okay. So, get some cardstock. Divide this in half, kind of, like that. And like that. Just like that. And pull them aside so there's a tiny bit of a gap. Okay, and they might be a little crooked sometimes, and I think that'll be all right. Then get a little tiny piece of this here. Run it up on there like that. See that? And you could do it after you get on the building too, if you need to. So now we know kind of a cheapy way to do that. So let's cut some more of these pieces that we can use to make our windows. And what I want to do with mine is I think I'm just going to make a generic line down the middle so I can see where I want my divider to be this time. Alright, so that's how I'm going to make my side windows. And to measure where those go, I'm just going to kind of eyeball this one to the middle. And then I'm just going to do this one kind of similarly. At the same level further over. And we'll do that again real quick. if you really wanted to get fancy, you could make little handles for your shutters. I'm not doing it, but you could. I don't know how long this campaign is before it dies, because we've never done a Western, and I didn't think it would be fun, but everybody seems to be enjoying it. I don't really enjoy making Western terrain and stuff as much personally. I just don't. Like, I try to, but it's just not. I like fantasy stuff, like where you don't have as many rules. I like sci-fi stuff where you just do whatever you want. Like, that's the kind of crafting I like. When you do like any kind of realism stuff, you gotta kind of, I don't know. You don't have the freedom. That's all I'm saying. Okay. I made 2 of those. I'm gonna come over here and do the same thing I did on the other one, but I'm gonna try to line it up a little bit with that side. It's close enough for government work. Now, the corners of the building are a little bit ugly. So to fix that, shit, I wanted this to be able to go flush up against the building next to it. Alright, well, it can't. That was a mistake. And we'll use that to clean up those edges. Oops. Just like that. Okay. Now we got to pluck these off without destroying it. And since I used a lot of glue, let's hope I can. Nice. Sweet. We lost 2 pieces of back here, so we're just gonna glue 2 new ones on real quick. Because we want these buildings to sit flush, like I said. All right, so we need a roof, and we need a roof that kind of fits on this. Let me get something a little bigger. So this is some coffee box. What we're going to do is we're just going to try to roughly make something that works. Okay. All right, so something like this could easily be used for what we're trying to accomplish. And I think that with some scissors and a little bit of patience, we can bring this roof to life. Okay, so let's start on the edges. Okay. Wrong drawer. You think I'd be used to where everything is by now, but I'm just quite not. Yeah, this is like a telegraph shop or something small that could be butted up against another building. And we're just going to run another one down that side. This will be sturdy and good. Okay. Okay, one last piece. I'm going to snip off a little chunk of booger there. For our last piece, we'll just come down the sides a little bit. Okay. Snug as a bug. Maybe even more snug than a bug. Let's just try to get in there and snip that off to make sure it fits real flush and nice. Okay, perfect. Something like that. You can put it adjacent to another building and it is playable. Do you need floor and stuff in here? Well, no you don't. You could. I think that'll work though. Not a terrible build, not the fastest build either. I do have some thoughts. There we go. Perfect. All right, so I'll go paint this, spray paint this, and then we'll come back and paint it. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon, and leave a comment. And check out the website, www.dungeon-swag.com. There'll be a link in the description. And come to the Discord and hang out. Otherwise, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.